Yikes, it's almost here. Hi there, welcome to the Upcycle Design Lab. If this is your first time here, my name's Cindy and I craft using recycled and repurposed materials to give you ideas on ways to make and create more economically and ecologically. And some of you may already know this, but I'm getting ready for a big craft show in Santa Fe in the next few days. So if you're in the Santa Fe area, I hope you're planning on coming to the Recycle Santa Fe Art Festival. And if you do, I'd love it if you stopped by my booth and introduced yourself. I'd love to meet you. So in today's video, I thought I would give you a tour of my booth. And before we get started, I did want to mention a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to be showing you all of the products that I'm making, and most of them have individual tutorials for making the item. So if you're interested in making your own, or you just want to know a little bit more about how the projects were made, you can find the video tutorials in a couple of different ways. You can go to my YouTube channel and in the search bar, type in what you're looking for. If you're not able to find it that way, you're more than welcome to leave me a comment in this video. Just ask me what you're looking for and I can send you the direct link to the tutorials. I'm also going to go through my fixtures and the costs involved with those. And at the end of the video, I have a couple of hacks and kind of bootstrap ideas that you might be able to try in your next booth setup. So I guess I should mention that the booth size is 10 by 10. So I'm going to have two tables on either side of my booth. And I kind of have my booth divided into departments. This is my aluminum beer and soda drink can insect department. So some of you may have already seen some of these tutorials, but there's a dragonfly. There's a butterfly. Sorry, there's no tutorial on that one yet, but hopefully soon. I've got a little caterpillar. There's a grasshopper. A ladybug, some ants, and where's the bumblebee? There's the bee. So all of those guys are made out of the beads that are rolled from the aluminum cans. If you've seen my videos, you know I enjoy making beads from the beer and soda cans. And then next up is my Christmas department. I've got some Christmas wreaths that were made from bed springs and tin cans, vegetable cans, soup cans. I've got some paper dragonfly Christmas ornaments. There's also a snowman that's made from the tin cans and the bed springs, and some Christmas trees that are made out of the tops of the tin cans. And the little decorations are made from foil gum wrappers in different colors. There are these tin can Christmas ornaments that are cut in a couple of different shapes, painted and decorated with some glitter. I've also got some ornament sets that are made out of the beer and soda cans. These are the bottom of the can, and this is the top two rings from the tops of the can. And lastly, I have some wreath kits that are put together so folks can make their own wreaths. These have the cut tin can parts and all of the springs that you need to assemble the wreaths if you wanted to make one on your own. Then I've got my sort of command center where I have my payment information, some business cards, phone charging station, my cash drawer, and things like that. If you've been following my channel at all, you've probably seen a video or two about this silly wedding dress, but as part of the Recycle Santa Fe Art Festival, they also have a trash fashion show, and so I've been working on this dress for many months. And it's made primarily out of the aluminum cans, and I'm entering it in the trash fashion show. So I just wanted kind of a place to highlight some of the pictures from the photo shoot that we did, to highlight the dress and show it off in my booth a little bit as well. Next up, I have my jewelry section, which is also fairly large. And it's kind of in different sections as well. I've made a lot of different jewelry out of watch parts. So I have my watch face earrings, which are just kind of fun mismatched pairs of watch faces made into earrings. And then I also have made some different necklaces using the watch casings. Some of them you can replace with your own photo, and some of them are just little dioramas that were fun to create. And I also made some bracelets out of the watch parts as well that you can replace with your own photos to personalize them. The next section is my aluminum cans. I've made a lot of different earring styles out of aluminum cans, and I just recently did a video kind of recapping all of the different styles that I've made. If you want to check into that, you can see a little bit more detail about all of the aluminum can jewelry that I've made. But I've done the earrings and then some different styles of bracelets, making the beads from the beer and soda cans. I've also made a lot of earrings using the tin cans, the soup cans and vegetable cans, which are a little heavier and require a little more manipulation, tin snips and hammering, but I've done a little bit of engraving on some of them, done some different shaping and painting. So it's just kind of fun to see what different shapes you can cut out of that material. And then I do have just a few paper bead earrings that I made from magazine pages. And I also have a section of glass, fused bottle glass that I've made. So there's different earrings and some pendants. And these I just made using a simple microwave kiln, which is kind of a fun little toy to play with. If you aren't familiar with fusing, it's a really fun way just to get started in the craft. And because I had so much fun making beads out of the soda cans, I just made some beadable pens. And then I also like to save bottle caps, especially sort of the fun, pretty ones. So I just made these silly little charms with a pull tab for a hook. And the last department here is a little small section. It's kind of my yard and garden section, I guess. I made these plant wall hangers when our fence blew over, and so we had a lot of extra fence pieces. And then they're also made using the tin cans. And the bottles are just old empty Tabasco bottles. And I also have a couple of little silly starter planter pots that are made from plastic grocery bags, and some embossed garden markers. So that is it for my products. For the fixtures, you've undoubtedly noticed this wire racking that I have, and it's actually pet fencing. You can get it in several different heights. I think mine is 30 inches high, but they're 8 2-foot sections that are hooked together, and so you can kind of shape them in a lot of different ways, which is one of the things I really like about it. And then obviously you can hang items on the fencing as well. This fencing was about $34 for each section, and I have 2 sections. The good news for me, at least, is that we purchased these actually to make pens for our dogs. After their knee surgery, we needed to keep them segregated a little bit, and so we actually already had this fencing on hand. But if you did want to purchase it, it's a lot more affordable than an actual grid wall. You can also see the cardboard display boards that I have, and they were about $3 a piece, and I only needed 5 of them. So they're 4 feet wide and I think 36 inches high. So they're taller than my metal racking, which is nice. And they just made a good place to hang my pricing labels. And they just closed off the backdrop. They just made it, I think, look a lot more professional and nice. And so I have 2 pieces across the back, and then I cut a piece in half for my 2 back sections. So the total on that was about $15. For my table covers, I'm using drop cloths from Harbor Freight, and they're 6 by 9, so I don't know if mine shrunk or not, but they barely cover my 8-foot table, but they're big enough to cover end to end and hang down the front. The show I'm going to has table skirts, so it's not imperative that my tablecloth goes down to the ground, but it does if you need it to. And I really just like these because I like the color, and they're very sturdy, and they kind of hide the dust and dirt. And I actually bought them for my first show. So I got 2 of them, and they're about $10 a piece. At Harbor Freight, you can find them other places as well. But I think they're kind of a nice, affordable option for table covers. So they were $20 roughly total. Next up is this Rubbermaid cart, which if you're buying a new one and a nice one, you're probably going to spend about $300 on. But we had this one before I even went into selling at craft shows, and I've really, really liked having it. It's great for hauling things. You can kind of store your personal items in there. As I mentioned, I have a little cash drawer here, and it's just a really handy tool, and it moves around the booth really easily. If you have traffic flow in the going in and out, you can kind of slide it in and out of the way. And we did end up putting this wood top on so that it would be flat and not have the handles, but that actually just gave me a nice little short shelf in there, which I've used for different things. So if you're just starting out, this might be an expense that you don't want to invest in, but it's a really important piece for my booth. I did also invest in getting all of the same kind of framing for my labels and my signs, and I ended up buying about 23 frames. They were from the Dollar Tree, fortunately, so they were only $1.25 a piece. But I just thought it made everything look a little more cohesive and nicer. So I did end up spending around $30 just for the frames for all of my signs. But the real splurge was the lighting. I don't actually have any of the lights on right now. But I did buy these little clip lights. They weren't terribly expensive. They're Mainstay brand from Walmart, and I think they were about $13 a piece, so not terribly expensive, but I did end up getting 6 different lights, and so that added up to about $80. But I do think that I'm not sure it shows up great on this video, but I do think that it definitely draws your attention, and the light was kind of worth it to me because I was going to all this effort to make everything look a little more professional, and so I decided to go ahead and add some extra lighting. I'm not sure if you get a weird glare from my video, but in real life I think it helps. So like I said, I do have 6 different lights that I'm using. I can get them all turned on. Maybe I can see if it's... You can see the back of the clip there. Yeah, so there's kind of a weird glare from this video, but I do think that ultimately I will be happy to have the extra light in my booth. And the last item is, you can see back where my little cart is, our beautiful garage wall and a piece of cardboard over the window. We did invest in a backdrop. It's kind of a room divider. We haven't got it all set up yet. It wasn't super expensive, but it's gray and I think it was around $30. I'll try to drop a picture of it in the edited version of this video, but I definitely wanted something behind the cart because there will be other booths and other hallways down back behind the cart there, and I definitely wanted a visual break behind the booth as well. So that's all the fixtures, and now I just was going to share a few of the hacks that I used to decorate my booth. The first one is I coffee dyed my sign paper. I didn't want my signs to be bright white, but I did want to be able just to print them on my printer. And I thought about getting resume paper, but I'm not sure anybody even uses printed resumes anymore. So I ended up just using some coffee grounds to dye the paper, and I think it turned out as a pretty nice match to the drop cloths. And I'm really happy that it's not the stark white that it would have been if I just used my regular printer paper. The next hack is around the back of my booth here. Because I'm holding the board on with some wire and I'm just wired it to the fencing, I put some iron-on patches on the back where all the holes are, and I'm hoping that that will extend the life of these cardboard backdrop. I know it's not going to last forever, but I think that the holes won't tear quite as bad with the patches on there. Next, I have my business card holder, which is just an old cassette tape case. So I've got several of those placed around the booth. I also made my pendant necklace displays from old CD cases. They just have a little bit of adhesive felt stuck to the front of them, and you just take the insides out and they turn into really nice little displays. And of course you probably noticed, but I'm using tin cans in my display here just to have a little bit of different height variation for my insects. And I also used it over here to make the shelf. I have some more tin cans and a piece of wood to make a shelf, just to raise up this display and make it a little more varied. But my favorite hack is my earring displays. They're made from paint stir sticks, popsicle sticks, and wooden skewers. And I've done a tutorial on that, which I will link to in the description. But you can make them in a flat version or a hanging version, but they're a very economical way to hang lightweight items. So that's it for this video. If you live in the Santa Fe area, again, I hope you'll check out the Recycle Santa Fe Art Festival. Stop by and say hello. I'd love to meet you. If you enjoyed today's content, please click the like button. If you haven't already, I'd love to have you join my YouTube community by hitting the subscribe button. If you'd like to receive the Upcycle Design Lab newsletter, check the description box for details on that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you back here soon in the lab for my next experiment.